Alright, the Eliminator, Santa Barbara. No wind launch. Into the fog. Pretty straightforward launch. The landing zone though, fairly tricky. Slope, it's in the very bottom left hand part of the screen here. It's called Parma Park. There's a Parma lower, Parma upper, Parma lower, lower. So lower is kind of the middle one actually. And the gentleman that introduced us, Willie, recommended a left-hand approach, but for some reason I ended up coming in at the right altitude and wanted to do a right-hand approach. Just keeping some good speed. He warned about hitting sink in the valley, people getting too low. I kind of liked having more clearance from the terrain, doing the right-hand approach. It gives a good view of where I'm going to land right there. So the very lowest field straight ahead is landable. I'm going to land in the lower part of it, heading for the breakdown tree they call the oak tree up there that has a glider underneath it. Another light no wind launch, not in the fog for me. Carl ended up in the fog that day. Comes down fast. It's pretty far from the ocean at the launch there, but as you can see it's still kind of a coastal site. Definitely beautiful. So once again I'm setting up my approach upwind of the landing zone, on a higher part of the hill than it. I was gonna do a left-hand approach, as Willie suggested, then started thinking of doing the upper Parma LZ, but then realized I hadn't really walked it that good, and also because it was my second flight at the site, I want to be conservative. But the upper part of the landing zone is kind of in the lower right hand part of the screen. It just got cut off. So it's a similar look at the approach that I did before. I'm higher, so I'm having to come across. I'll basically end up kind of in the same situation as if I had done a left-hand approach over the house with the swimming pool right there in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. But I'm even higher than that, so I'll have to add a little dog leg. And you can imagine if I did a left-hand approach and had just flown over those houses and the edge of the landing zone there. So even though I'm still looking very high, it is an uphill, so you have to really look at where you're going to end up and look across at it. Once again, using your angles. Got a pretty good round out on this one. Doing my transition a little late, but I'm on my Sport 2, so I can carry a little ground effect, and it was purely no wind. This is the first day I had some wind on launch. Nice to have it lifting me before I feel the end of the ramp hits. It's always nice. First sunny, beautiful day. Got some soaring in on this day. A little intimidated to soar right in front of launch. Started doing some circling, but it didn't feel that solid. And didn't like the rocky, steep terrain and the power lines that you have to cross over eventually. That takes some getting used to. It wasn't an issue. But here, I'm far upwind of the LZ. I was considering trying to find some lift over the hills, so if I got some lift I could fly all the way to the beach. So this is looking back at the landing zones coming from the south. So it gives you a pretty good view. The side slope, you can see the lower Parma LZ and the left middle part of the screen. Okay, it's right. Now I'm kind of hiding it with my body. Anyway, that's gives a good view of how steep it is. And on this one I'm going to land on the upper Parma, which is a lot less sloped, but it's also has a lot more restrictive undershoot, overshoot, and side shoot. So you can see all the gliders parked by the breakdown tree on the left hand side. I've still got the lower Parma LZ at any time if I just want to take a left if I happen to get some sink, but I had lined this one up right. So I want to just kind of like landing the 150 right as the steep part hits, hit the trail, some best glide and a little extra, round out, flare.